I will say it reminds me of some of your later poems too. Some of your later poems, I feel, when you like your holy sonnets and American sonnets, I feel those have the same kind of oblique nature, but have a hyper focus on them. Whereas there's some of your poems that are a little more hermetic, and you would need to look to other places to really get some of the references and allusions.
Mm.
This one sort of reminds me of that. Particularly someone who's never come to your corpus, they may not realize that this is all coming from the same writer.
Yeah.
But that's just as an isolated play.
Well, that's one of the things too. And we were talking earlier about writing is that
Mhm.
you can't just redo the same things. I mean, this is, I think I've now, let's see, this was play number 57, the other one 58, so I'm working on number 59, so almost 5 dozen plays. Um, you know, you just can't go back to the well and do the same things, especially since what 60% of the plays deal with Danny or my pursuit of females. Whether we're talking about the Emma Wardell character or the Rosanna Hobbs character, Megan Morrow, or any of the other Janie Fitz or what. Each of them was separate Janelle. Each of them were a different thing. So to just have Danny pursues this girl, Danny gets rebuffed, or Danny thinks he's going to win, Danny ultimately gets rebuffed or whatnot. It gets kind of boring. That's why, for example, with the girl, I forget the play now, but the one with the Desdemona character. This is why I included the scenes with Prince, or the seeming Prince character. It gives a deeper sense of time and place that would be missing otherwise. And it's something that did happen. We did meet at this place owned by Prince, but it you have to do different things, and you always have to uh, try different things. And
I
yeah,
was going to ask you too. Um, you can have any closing remarks. This is a difficult play to boil down and discuss. So if you want to have any last word about the play, go ahead. But before that, I wanted to ask you. You wrote this play, and I think the next one we're going to talk about. Well, you were writing a novel. How was that process? And have you done it before?
I
Have you
think
wrote
I don't know if
simultaneously?
I'm not sure if I wrote Whispers Antiphonal. I think I finished that, and then I did the next play about uh, As If a Promontory. I started with the novel, and I'm doing the musical, and I'll probably maybe have another play too. I don't know, but uh, that's just I'm going with the flow. This is as we're recording. This is now almost. This is what October 28th of 2019. So we're heading into the holiday season. Anyone looking at this hundreds of years from now might be like, "What the fuck is the holiday season?" And so because I work in a retail store, it's more physical. There's more shit to do. I'm more tired. So to be able to go back and forth and whatnot, rather than it just allows a little bit more of grease in my mind to slide back and forth between the stuff, and it just helps. And I'm going a little slower and letting things go where they may, both with the novel and the play I'm writing now, as well as the next play that we're going to talk about.
Hmm. But do you find when you're writing a novel and a play at the same time? And first of all, you didn't answer one of my questions. Have you ever done that before, where you're writing two forms at once?
Not two forms, but when I wrote Monarchs of New York, that's in three parts, and so I wrote the 12 short stories, and then the four middle longer stories, and then I think I wrote um, the first book of not American Lace. The first 21 Conversations. Then I wrote the whole of 21 Conversations, and then I came back and did the last section of Monarchs of New York. So I wrote a book in between that, but I didn't go back and forth uh, together. But when I wrote my short stories, all my short story collections, what I would do is I would write a draft of each of the stories. And so if I did say 12 stories in a book, I didn't write each story individually. I would go write draft 1 of each of the 12 stories, then draft 2, 3, 4. By the time I got to maybe draft 5, I would have been done with maybe 4 or 5 of the stories. So I do another draft or 2, I finish a story, another draft, another story, and that way I get a cross pollination, and there's an organic whole to it. Not that off the top of my head, uh, I don't see that kind of cross pollination here yet, but it's a way to just go back and forth and not get stuck, and to if something happens and I got 3 or 4 days that I work on the play, then I go back and maybe I for a couple of days I write a few thousand words of the novel, and it's just a way to keep it keep my mind fresh, especially when I'm so tired.